Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Innoxjogja. This is the second panel of the second day of Innoxjogja, and I'm so happy and so thrilled that the panels is already here. The moderator also will be already here. Again, I will not forget to memorize you guys, all the participants, to check at our Innox platform to see all the participants, also the virtual booth, and also all the participants that exist in the platform. All right. For now on, the second panel session is about gaming in Indonesia, and it will be moderated by Danang Juffry, the Hub Manager of Innovation Factory, and also panels by Diko Julian, the Manager Games and New Digital Brand and Communication at Dunia Games by Telkomsel, also Desmond Tan, Chief of Business and Development Officer at Bountie, and Jason Ong, the General Manager of AKG Games. All right, for this one panel, I'll pass it to Danang. Danang, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, Eki. So, hello everyone, welcome to Innoxjogja. My name is Danang Juffry, and I will moderate this session about gaming in Indonesia. So, we will have three amazing panels that represent the gaming ecosystem, and we will discuss and ask their view on the issue. Okay, so my panel will be Diko Julian, Manager of Games and New Digital Brand of Communication of Telkomsel. Halo, Pak Diko.
Hi, thank you, Dan. Hello, everyone.
Yeah. And the second one is Desmond Tan, the CPD of Bountie. Hi, Desmond.
Hi, Danang. Hello, everyone. Very happy to be here.
Yeah. Thank you. And last but not least, Jason Ong, General Manager of AKG Games. Hi, Jason.
Hey, Danang. How's it going?
Hi, it's good. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much for all of your time to attend to this panel. And okay, let's start with brief introduction, your name and a little bit about what you do. And again, because we are in the gaming theme, let's mention our favorite game, okay? So let me start with myself. My name is Danang. I'm the Hub Manager of Innovation Factory and Block 71 Bandung in Yogyakarta. We are technology hub and the most active digital startup ecosystem builder in Indonesia. We have physical presence in Bandung, Jakarta, and Yogyakarta, and we are here to help the startup grow and help them to support their business to thrive. And my most favorite game, although I spend most of the time playing online games like Counter-Strike and Ragnarok, but my favorite all-time game is actually Final Fantasy VII. So it's very, it's captivated my heart, and I'm really looking forward to play it in the PlayStation 4. All right, so the next one, can I go to Desmond?
Sure. Thanks, Danang. Hi, everyone. I'm Desmond from Singapore. I'm one of the co-founder and also the Chief Business Development Officer for Bountie. So Bountie, we are a esports tournament platform for casual gamers to come online to organize your own tournament and also to participate in tournaments. So we serve not those professionals. We serve those who are one step lesser than professionals, all the way down to your casual gamers. So we say that is maybe the 99% market of the esports industry. And just before you can, play in the TI finals, the Worlds, we are like the stepping board for you to practice and to have a bit more casual tournaments with friends. So that's what we do. We've been a startup. Very happy to be here. Thank you, Danang and the team for inviting us. We actually have a team, an amazing team in Innoxjogja. Those are our development team, and we're heavily supported by Block 71 in the initial phase in Jogja. So thank you very much for that. To answer your question, Danang, my favorite game, I used to play quite a bit of StarCraft and CS many years ago, but I've since moved on to MOBA. So I did a lot of Mobile Legends. I think a lot of Indonesians know this game is very popular, one of the top few games in Indonesia. But recently I moved on to Marvel Super War. So it's a game by NetEase. It's very interesting because you have all the different Marvel characters, and I love playing Iron Man in that game. Okay. So that's me.
Okay, thank you. Probably if you still have your ID on Mobile Legends, you can play after this.
Oh yeah, I love to play Nana.
Nana. Okay. All right. Okay. Next, probably I go to Jason.
Hey everyone, yes. I'm Jason. I'm the General Manager of AKG Games. So AKG Games is a fairly young gaming and entertainment company. We are around a year old, and we are based in Jakarta. But we are based in Jakarta, but we also have a branch in the Philippines, in Manila. So AKG, our work and our office and our scope crosses three fields. One is, of course, game publishing. We are the official partner of Blizzard Entertainment in both the Indonesia and the Philippines. So we help to distribute, market, and really partner and build the community for their games in these two markets. We also are the master licensee for the Pokemon IP in Indonesia. So we're very proud to be the distributor and to help to market the Bahasa Indonesia version of the Pokemon trading card game in Indonesia, of course. And we help to, of course, license the IP across the whole country. And last but not least, we're also an esports organizer. We help to develop and we also organize esports tournaments, and we host them on our own on our sister company's website and YouTube page. So we have got quite a few exciting portfolio of businesses that we look at. As for myself, one of the games that I like, I think I've been playing games since I was much younger, playing games like Street Fighter, for example. But I think right now, when I have some time, I try to play one of Blizzard Entertainment's games called Hearthstone, which is a strategic card game. Yes, so it's quite fun. It's quite intellectual, but it's actually definitely it's a very intensive game. It's good joy, good fun.
It's great. Thank you, Jason. And probably Pak Diko, what about you?
Hello, my name is Diko. I'm brand games manager at Telkomsel, Dunia Games. I play the games every day. I like Mobile Legend. Like Desmond, my role play is a tanker. I like Uranus. or Gatot Kaca. It's my favorite heroes.
Okay.
So if you talk about the Dunia Games, one platform for gamers that the Dunia Games also provide the esport platform, reseller, loyalty program, application store, and also pet payment gateway. So there were many features that you can try in Dunia Games. For example, forum, you can find and join a group discussion which discuss the games you play. In esports, you can create your own tournament that you need and invite your friend and other gamers to join your tournament. In reseller, you can try to get more penny with sell games voucher with Dunia Games. So many features in Dunia Games, you can try and experience it. Maybe there were many games portal exist, but we are not just only news portal platform, but we provide all gamers need in one portal.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Pak. Wah, we have one team already, for Mobile Legend. Maybe we can play after this. But I mean, for starters, I think according to gaming in Indonesia, so the latest data shown that Indonesian having quite big market, $1.1 billion in the gaming industry, quite big. But considering its GDP and the population, it's actually relatively small compared to the other countries. So Indonesia even slightly below Vietnam on average revenue per user in game. So for each of you, from your point of view, could you share a little bit about the gaming landscape in Indonesia? Probably I will start with Desmond. Can you share a bit?
Yeah, sure. I think Danang, you just hit something that was really important. So Indonesia in Southeast Asia has the biggest gamers pool population, compared to any other Southeast Asia country. I come from Singapore. We are really small, compared to Indonesia. We are probably a drop in the ocean. But the ARPU, the average revenue per user, of course, it can be much better in that sense. But I feel it's very nascent as an industry. I think, speaking from purely the esports angle, one really good news that I think this year has happened for Indonesia is the government's recognition on esports as official sports, and that is following behind Malaysia and Philippines. And this is really important, I feel. The reason why esports became such a big viable career in the US, part of the reason is because of the recognition by the US government. So having such recognition by the government is a very strong way of pushing it forward for the whole industry. So I reckon that this will be the catalyst to see how Indonesia esports will grow. But with that said, I also think that in the game development side, there could actually be a bit more growth, because we see that a lot of the games that are popular in Indonesia, they are actually not produced locally by Indonesians. So I think more support could go towards the Indonesian local game developers to help kind of bolster up and expedite their popularity in the local market.
Got it. Okay. Jason, what do you think about it?
I think definitely that. Well, of course, the interesting observation about the industry is that the statistics are still very hard to actually find. But the fact is that, I think from different reports that I've read, yes, the overall revenue size for the annual revenue of the Indonesian game industry is around $1 billion plus minus. I would say that I think to echo Desmond's point is that I think apart from, of course, the Indonesian government's support and endorsement of esports, I think, like it or not, another good thing for the industry this year was COVID. I think, while of course we have all been affected very much, and our lives have been upended by the COVID pandemic. I think that made most of us, or all of us, change our way of life, and a lot of us are now staying indoors. So I think definitely, I'm sure many, if not most, if not all, game publishers have actually observed an increase in revenues this year. So I'm quite sure that next year's results for the game industry will definitely, double or something, and I'm definitely sure about that. But I think going back to the idea of of the revenue per user ARPU, I think overall we have to remind ourselves that while yes, Indonesia has the biggest population in the whole Southeast Asia, I think if you compare and benchmark ourselves against some of our neighbors, I think we're still on the GDP per capita, we're still fairly low compared to comparatively. So I think there is a lot of room for us to grow. And I think definitely it's a matter of time before we catch up with many of our neighbors. And I think the good thing is that many of our players are currently students and or fairly young working professionals. So I think gaming is a part of their life, and as time goes on, we're quite sure that the ARPU of these players will definitely grow in the months and years to come.
I see. So again, COVID is a little bit of blessing in disguise for gaming industry, Jason. Yeah, I gotta agree. I play more game now.
The silver lining, not the blessing, but the silver lining.
Okay.
Silver lining cloud, yes.
All right. Sorry about that. Sorry. Pak Diko, what do you think about this? Can you share something about the gaming landscape in Indonesia?
Okay, yeah. If we talk about the gaming landscape in Indonesia, Indonesia is a big market for gaming, also the esport. Every year, in my telco perspective, increasing internet user and smartphone is always. With the fourth largest country and also fourth largest numbers of internet user, about 170 million, that I not forget, connected with the internet. We talk about the gaming a few years ago, they only talk about games itself. And now the perspective about the gaming was changing. There's so many aspects in gaming. Today we talk about the esport, game developer, game publisher, games voucher, games community, games genre, because it ultimately cause economic value in a society. The creative industry should be growing, I think.
See, okay. So again, Desmond, building on that, we talk a little bit. You talk a little bit about the difference between Indonesia as a big company, big country, and Singapore as a smaller one. But the GDP, as Jason said earlier, Indonesia is just really smaller than Singapore. What's the difference between Indonesia and Singapore, as you see?
Well, to be really upfront, I think in terms of competitiveness of esports player, we are nowhere close to Indonesia.
Because the number of player. Because the number of player, or?
Well, because perhaps but I like to think it's because of the dedication of the players, right?
Okay.
I think to a certain extent in Singapore, the parents here are still very pragmatic. As much as esports has over this last 5 years has kind of became a main core and parents have started to accept, but there are still a large traditional group of parents, who probably wouldn't be so agreeable when their kids mention they want to be an esports player. So that actually causes them to have backup plans along with pursuing their dream of becoming an esports player, and that usually may not be a good thing. You see, it backfire against what some other players in other countries might be doing, where they are passionate about what they are doing, they go in full focus on it, they are definite of making a career out of it. And of course, by the sheer size of Singapore compared to Indonesia, we are definitely on a disadvantageous position. So from that perspective, but with that said, Singapore has produced a couple of unicorn, gaming unicorn thus far. We've seen the likes of Razer and C, which was previously called Garena. So Singapore as a gaming business hub is very supportive. In fact, 2.5 years ago, in Singapore, we seen the government setting up and a department within the government to look into the trade of esports. To have personnel looking over the whole esports ecosystem in Singapore. That started from Enterprise Singapore. And then earlier this year, we wanted to, in October actually, we wanted to bring in Gamescom Asia, the first ever inaugural Gamescom into Singapore in October. But because of COVID, that has been pushed back to next year. So Gamescom Asia is a lot more focused on the B2B side of business of games. Of gamers, and it involves your game developers, your studios, your teams coming down. It's more of the business side of things. So that is a government aim of where Singapore is. They try to be a hub for the business side of esports, as much as that is that's what they want to do. But as far as what Indonesian government is going to the extent of recognizing esports as an official sports, Singapore government hasn't made that stand yet, but we have seen them moving the conversation forward. I think what, and on a personal note, what I think the government might be thinking of is, imagine if they say that esports is the official sports today, tomorrow they will probably have 30,000 students leaving schools and pursuing that as a career. So probably that's something not they wouldn't want to have going on.
Noted. Okay, all right. So I want to go to Pak Diko. Pak Diko, so as a part of the gaming ecosystem in Indonesia, what is the position or the main purpose of Dunia Games actually? Because as you said earlier, Dunia Games do news and also become the event organizer of several esport event and actually publisher too. If I'm not wrong, what do you take on this?
Okay, I will bring you to 7 years ago. Dunia Games start as direct career billing portal for mini games in 2013. So evolve into news portal game and payment gateway for gaming apps in Google Play in 2015. In 2017, Dunia Games didn't just want to be known as a new portal, so Dunia Games had a big improvement. After that, evolve more as the gaming industry and community grows. We also start to hold esport tournament in Indonesia, like Indonesian Games Championship, the first tournament that we made to reach out communities by pioneering the biggest game gathering in Indonesia. So after that, there were many sport tournaments that we met until now. For example, Dunia Games League, Dunia Games Campus, PvP Esport, and so on. In 2018, Dunia Games made big improvement. Not only made esport tournament, Dunia Games also became a publisher game. If you search at the Google, Cellfire, the first game that Dunia Games released, Cellfire was a game application with action genre with FPS, first-person shooter. And MOBA, multiplayer online battle arena sub-genre that have various game modes, hero character, maps, and in-app items. So after that, Dunia Games consistently release game with various genre. For example, Lord of Estera, Kolak Express, Rise of Nolan, and end of this year, Dunia Games will release one more game. So let's see what kind of game will be released by Dunia Games. It must be interesting. So stay tuned. Yeah. So Dunia Games bring the same spirit of Telkomsel goal to become a digital company also. and leading mobile digital business. Dunia Game focus in becoming one-stop portal for gaming, providing all gamers just only one platform. Just use Dunia Games platform.
Yeah, very cool. So it's all in one for all the gamers need. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
Jason. For AKGS, as a publisher, and I can say is one of the big player in the esports scene there. What's your strategy in this ecosystem?
I think for us, thanks Danang. I think we are still. Thanks for thinking that we are a big company, but yeah, I think we are emerging. I think I like to think that we're still emerging, we are still growing, and we are learning. And I think we're still a 1 year plus company, so we're taking things one step at a time. And I think for us, it was the first year. I think we are very, as I mentioned earlier, we are very fortunate to have had partnerships with this entertainment, and of course, we're looking to, of course, learn, grow, and improve upon the what we have learned in our first year of operations. I think within our franchises from Blizzard, we do know that there are many upcoming launches. For example, from Hearthstone. Hearthstone has just had a new launch today for its expansion. World of Warcraft, another mainstay of the Blizzard franchise, is having its another new edition coming up next week. And of course, within the whole Blizzard Entertainment franchise, Diablo Immortal, one of the most anticipated and one of the a really, really strong IP, will be launching sometime next year. So I think these are on our part, we're definitely very busy to prepare for the launches of these games. On our part, we're also looking to, of course, not rest on our laurels and look to work with other companies too. And we're always having conversations with different parts of the ecosystem to see how can we support them and expand our portfolio of partners within Indonesia and beyond Southeast Asia. And also I think within the area of esports, I think we've been growing our esports profile and our esports partnerships. We have worked, of course, to stage regional as well as international esports tournaments with partners, not just with entertainment, but also with other partners like Tencent and Zepeto, for example, from Korea. So we are definitely growing and learning, and we're always happy to have conversations with parties.
Nice. Okay. Next question is Desmond. You tell us a little bit about the government support to strengthen the esport industry. So, in your point of view, what does it take to groom the gaming industry and innovation in a country? Is it possible for Indonesia? How can Indonesia, build a stronger gaming ecosystem? On your point of view.
I think that's a very meta question that you just asked, Danang. In terms of my observation of the esports industry in Indonesia, there's slight similarities across Malaysia and Singapore. Is that everyone, most company, the gaming ecosystem is really huge. We have your developers, your publishers, your team managers, your esports organizers. You have platforms like us who are trying to get into the same space, and everyone is always talking about having their own ecosystem. Having their own virtual currency, having their own community of players. And what we have observed is more often than not, it becomes a very siloed endeavor. Perhaps you will have your own group of partners who are in this siloed group of a nucleus, but the nucleus hardly goes horizontal across to kind of talk to everyone else in the ecosystem. So it has caused I would say some toxicity in the industry, and that is something that is a hard truth, right? Because it as much as the industry is very closely knitted in some sense, but it's also political in some sense as well. So in order to actually for all countries esports to really grow together, there has to be a common denomination of conversation happening. Be it the brands like the telcos that are coming in, the non-endemic brands that are coming in, the developers, publishers, the esports organizers. There has to be an understanding, a common ground where people can talk, So I find that that is very important and to for any industry to grow. So that I feel is one of the core that any country who's looking to grow their esports to foster a more cohesive esports community should look at. And apart from that, what we're trying to do is as Bounty's platform, we are very agnostic towards partners. Rather, we try to make friends and we are neutral to everyone else. And we have done that for the past 3 years, and that has still stayed with us thus far. And the way we want to go forward is we support while we have the esports teams and the esports organizers, they are catering to the top 1% of the gamers. We want to look at the 99%, the individuals who don't get the opportunity to train 7-8 hours in a gaming house with their own jerseys and being sponsored by certain brands in terms of products and money. We want to look at these casual players, they want to get there eventually, but they need sustenance along the way. They want to grow their journey, you don't get there overnight. You have to persevere for 4-5 years, 7-8 years to train as a team before you get talent scouted, get headhunted, you join a team, and then you become a professional from there. And then from professional, perhaps you go for a couple of local regional tournaments, eventually the international ones, you get some prizes, and that keeps you going. So for us, we aim to provide some form of monetary rewards. So when you come on Bounty's platform, you game with us, you win in these micro tournaments. That gives you maybe $50, $20, $10 for you to keep yourself growing. It can't buy you a mansion, but it can ensure that you can buy your next packet of Indomie together with your tea. So that is what we aim in growing. So we really cater to I think it's so to answer your question, I think the government can play an important role in being the common denomination for this conversation to take place across all different siloed ecosystem player. And then there could be a common ground being discussed. And from then on, we could move forward and the industry would then be able to take advantage of this.
I see. Okay. Yeah, I can agree with your point, Desmond. All right. Pak Diko, what do you think about this? In your point of view, what does it take to grow the gaming industry and innovation in the country?
To grow gaming industry in Indonesia, not only coming from developer or even publisher side, we still need support from the government and other investor in the other hand to make they promote a game and need big capital, even in standard or indie game, still need big money to develop the product, promote and launch it to the market. I have the one opinion about how to growing the game industry. If we talk in the best order how we improve the games industry, the first thing to do is create the digital-based education system, I think. Where it's at a high school or junior high school level, introduce that in the digital world, there is something called the game industry which has an economic impact on society. Then provide an understanding how to the game industry can something powerful in life in the future. We call these games or digital industry goes to school, maybe. While providing information to parents, this is one of the potential in the futures. The key is that the digital curriculum must be included in the school. I mean the digital, not game, right? Now entering the university level, in Indonesia, some universities already have game majors. That's very good news, but the question is whether the fully learned knowledge can meet their criteria in the present condition. Not necessarily. There must be collaboration between parties in ecosystem games, and of course, it has been tested well in developing in the game industry, I think.
Wow, that's actually good vision from the other side, yeah. So all right, yeah. Education is definitely important, Pak.
Right.
Great take on that. Jason, what do you think, man?
You put me the last after two of my colleagues have given very good meta answers. So I think
Jason, you'll go for the next question. You'll go first for the next question.
I will. But I think, but let me take a step at this from the grounds up first. I think very much so. I think from the game industry, I think firstly we need to remember that the game industry in Indonesia is still a very young industry. I think most of us, I think as a whole, the industry, many of us here will maybe consumers as a whole, but only I think in the business of gaming is a fairly young change, a shift of mindset, and that has begun, I would say, in the past 5 years or so. And I think definitely one of the key impediments to really developing a strong ecosystem in Indonesia is, I think, talent. I think we need to have great talent to actually be part of the ecosystem, to work and to help to develop games, to market games, and to promote the games, and to see this as a real business. I think as a whole, the industry is a couple of you can count them on one hand. So I think definitely, I think we need to basically improve education, improve the mindsets of people, and to make people realize that gaming is actually a real professional industry that you can be in, be it as an esports athlete, to a team manager, to of course working as a game developer, marketing person, etc. So I think that's one key shift that needs to be done. I think secondly is also, I think from the industry standpoint, I think it's also of, I know that Indonesia has a gaming industry, and and right now, in terms of the esports, things have begun to coalesce around an esports national esports organization. I think those are very encouraging trends, and hopefully, once we start to have national champions in these regards, the industry will start to shape up and to be more cohesive, and we can work together to really address some of the challenges that people face in the country. And I think also, and maybe another point here and last but not least, also now that we have got a member of the telcos here, is I think Indonesia as a whole, I think compared to many countries across Southeast Asia, it's a huge country with varying levels of infrastructure. So internet access is unequal across many parts of the country. So with games being everything going online and digital now, and mobile and digital, I think being able to have strong internet access across the country would really help to level up the whole ecosystem, be it from consumer access to the number of players being able to play games, of course, more businesses being able to participate across the country, not just in the Jabodetabek Bay area or Bandung or Jogja, but other parts of the country can also participate and be equally involved in this whole industry.
Yeah. And we need, of course, we need the telco help to distribute this telecommunication by network, Pak, so everyone can access and play Mobile Legend or play another games.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
No pressure.
no pressure. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So probably Jason just give the conclusion of for all the question and wrap it into three things. Thank you, Jason. So as Desmond said earlier, so the next question will be asked directly to you. So again, in the last 5 or 4 years, as I know it, we have seen like a very great rise, meteoric rise from esport and gaming, especially in the Southeast Asia region. And youths today, the young people today are starting to turn like to esport as a viable, as you said earlier, viable career option. In your opinion, what has sparked this sudden rise?
I think the answer is very simple. I think, if you compare Southeast Asia as a whole versus the West, or, the West, I mean, gaming in the West began through consoles and through PCs. Whereas, in Southeast Asia, I think, we largely skipped the consoles and the PCs, and we are mobile first generation. I think mobile phones are now, everyone has a mobile phone, everyone has a smartphone, and with the rising popularity of games and the complexity of the games on your mobile phone, I think that has really led to the exponential rise in popularity of games. So I think that is one of the key areas of differentiation between the West and where we are in Southeast Asia right now. I think that's a very encouraging trend. And I think also, quite interestingly enough, if you look at Southeast Asia as a market, there are a few games here, Mobile Legends, Free Fire, for example, PUBG. Many of these games are I mean, these are the market-leading games, but they're all within Southeast Asia. These are games which are focused within Southeast Asia and have really strong strengths here, but largely are not so well known outside our region. So this is an interesting observation that that I think there is a commonality among these games in terms of the social element, the MOBA concept. I think it pays off very well in our market, and I think that's something that we can really that has been a key growth, has been part of the key growth of gaming within Southeast Asia.
I see.
Yeah.
So
And I think
this
also,
is
and I think going back to the point also of esports, and I think definitely esports, of course, esports has seen a phenomenal rise, and of course you've got great regional teams springing up, like of RRQ, EVOS, for example, based in either Indonesia or headquartered in Singapore, and I think because of that, there is a whole they're the top, the pinnacle, and I think it really has inspired a whole generation of players to follow them and to come up and to become like their idols.
yeah. I also, so just to clarify things, so Mobile Legends and Free Fire, those kind of game, it's only popular in our Southeast Asia, yeah. But outside, it's not really popular in Europe or in America.
I mean, for example, there's if you look at a game like, let's say, PUBG, it's very popular in Southeast Asia. I know it's the #1 game in India, but apart from, let's say, Asia as a whole, is not that popular outside of these markets. Free Fire is big in Southeast Asia, and C has been very successful in exporting the game to Latin America. But beyond these two regions, it's not known at all, or it's lesser known in the Americas or Europe, for example. So there's some interesting market peculiarities that can be observed. Similarly, games such as PC-based games such as League of Legends, for example, which is known internationally and captures many of the people's imagination in the West, may not be so popular right now within our region.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Jason. Very, very deep observation, yeah. All right, Pak Diko, what do you think, Pak?
Yeah, we see this trend is always growing. We see a lot of opportunities to develop. The esport is not only the player, but there are many opportunities if we are involved in esport. You can be an esport event organizer, content creator, media distributor, esport manager, what else? Games writer, enthusiast, cosplay, caster, and many more. Yeah, a shift toward likes or something that becomes a favorite has changed. If young people always talk about the football idol or basketball team, now they are talking about their favorite teams, right? If they used to talk about their favorite striker or the best goalkeeper in basketball game, who played the best center of favorite point guard. Now they say things, what is your role? What is your favorite heroes, right? The topic of the conversation has changed. And if you look the enthusiasm of esport, we see the companies that clearly see this opportunity to get closer to this market segmentation. Many companies create on tournament, sponsorship to team, and many more.
Definitely, it helps, Pak. And Desmond, what do you take on that?
Thanks, Anand. I think a few reasons in Southeast Asia is a very interesting market. First of all, between PC and mobile gamers, if it's 10 years ago when I was still playing, you to be able to game, you will need a computer, minimally a high spec computer for you to play. For me, I was playing StarCraft, I was playing Counter-Strike. I had to have that to make sure that latency doesn't drop, right? So if you look across Southeast Asia, I think as a general developing region, I would argue to say in terms of affordability across the whole region compared to what we have in the West, not everyone is able to afford to purchase a gaming PC, a gaming rig to have it at home to play. So the availability of even if I like League of Legends, I like Dota, I like CS, I may not have the equipment that can help me to play such a game. So over the years, because of game development, the game developers, they have shifted their focus into more more mobile-ready games, mobile-ready esports game title rather. And that coupled with telcos actually, because in the past when I had a mobile phone, I remember I would always have to check how much data I have left before I can log on and watch the next video or start to look at Facebook and things like this, but these days this is no longer happening. I don't have to. I can just watch video on Facebook and on YouTube. I don't have to worry about data because data has gotten cheaper. So people they're able to play, and games, the processing speed and the processing requirement of every single mobile games these days are not as intensive as those PC games that we used to see. So these reasons coupled together has increased the proliferation of the popularity of mobile games in Southeast Asia. Not everybody have a PC, but everybody has a smartphone, and this is only set to grow because what we foresee coming soon is maybe cloud gaming. And once cloud gaming is, I don't even have to install the game on my mobile phone. I just log on to the cloud, I play via the cloud, and that's all. It requires even lesser processing power on my phone. So that is one of the main reasons. And I feel because second reason is, over these past few years, there has been a lot more emphasis by government, emphasis by the media on esports, on gaming generally. So esports exists as part of gaming, but what is often glamorized is always the esports side of things, So that has really spurred youth to catch on, and we see more content makers coming out towards the esports side of things, streamers, content makers. So this also helps to grow the popularity of this. And finally, I find, because we are all, as a region, and Indonesia especially being the fourth largest population in the whole world, has a huge growing middle class. So this huge growing middle class has much more spending capacity, and they're able to then purchase better phone and purchase more in-game items as well. And when you join a clan and you play, you often don't want to lose out. If you see your friends having this skin, this diamond, you don't want to lose out. You want to make sure you catch on. So there's always a chase for that bragging rights as well. So these are some of the reasons that we see coming up. So right now you see Mobile Legends, PUBG Mobiles, Free Fire, games that Jason has mentioned earlier. These are all very largely mobile games that we have seen.
And I think, sorry, and just to echo, and just to also give another perspective that on the business model of games. I think if you look at the business model of games in the let's say during the PC era, it's the typical model is that you would go to the store and you would pay $50 US, for example, and then you would purchase the CD-ROMs and you would bring the game home to play, and you play this for like a month plus minus. But nowadays, with beginning from, I guess, in some ways from the World of Warcraft, with moving to a subscription model where you pay the games on a monthly basis, or even now, of course, with mobile phones and the freemium game where games are of course free to play, but of course you're encouraged to keep up with your clan or with the other competitors, to buy more skins or to buy more weapons. I think that there is a different model, monetization model that actually helped to really catalyze the growth of the industry, and it's really reduced the barriers of entry and has gotten on allowed everybody to play a game. And I think many games are, and actually the good thing about many of these free games is that yes, you can play the game, you can actually compete without having to pay. But of course, having to unlock and purchase another extra armor or some other weapon is always very helpful.
Okay, so I actually feel what Desmond said earlier, because back then in the PC era, I cannot play some certain of games because my PC specification is not high enough. So I kind of had that struggle. And thank you, Jason, for pointing out the business model. And probably Pak Diko. So the ecosystem is like really growing right now, and also the large publisher outside of Indonesia or outside Southeast Asia is moving their part and their operation here. And how can we, as the local gaming startup, adapt it to remain relevant to the gaming scene?
Yeah, I believe that local game developer have a strategy or strength to better understand the market and characteristic in Indonesia. Local developers understand more culturally about bringing ideas into the games, and there's some market segment. If we look at the history of many games that have been released through a culture approach or locally daily life, yeah, this is become a special attraction. For example, like Kolak Express released in Ramadan with 3 series, Tahu Bulat, Tebak Gambar, Nasi Goreng Special. And we play this game, it's very Indonesian, and only Indonesian make the story. So keep going local Indonesian developer. Yeah, we believe that with continuous enthusiasm, we can be at the world-class level maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
Like what was done by Innovation Factory and Block 17. In my opinion, this event can be very supportive like this by bringing together digital practitioners. There are academic, government, games developer, and even inviting investors to join this sportive event like today. Yeah, games developers can use it by opening communication and building network as well as doing live showcase in the game gamers.
Yeah, yeah. The Indonesian game sounds like hawker center in Singapore, yeah. Nasi goreng, tahu bulat.
Yeah, yeah. Tebak gambar.
It's very very food related. Jason, what do you think on that?
Well, I think definitely, I would say that as a whole, I think all game developers, be it local or international, they all need to find ways to connect with the community and stay locally relevant. I think some of the big international, like for example, Mobile Legends, they have used a Indonesian actor to be one of the heroes, for example. Some of the other games they definitely try to stay relevant by incorporating popular TV shows or popular singers in their games. So I think everybody needs to stay relevant. Everybody needs to find ways to stay culturally attuned to their audience. So I think be it international or even local, it's how do you stay relevant to your local community. And I think for Indonesian gamers, of course, for Indonesian game developers, being based here, I think it's good to definitely start and hone your expertise to reach out to this market of 272 million people. But I think having proved and cut your teeth here, you can then definitely expand outwards and reach out to a broader market. I think I think I think in the growing internationalized world, globalized world, I think the fact that whether a developer is from Indonesia or from Singapore or from somewhere in Vietnam doesn't really impede the game's potential too much. Just have a great idea, find some good investors, talk to interesting publishers like AKG Games, for example, and we'll be happy to help work with you to export and to grow your ambition for the game.
Okay, Desmond, what do you think?
Thanks, Danang. So I don't think I'll be the best person to talk about this because this actually talks a lot into not the esports space, but actually into the game dev space. And I think I'll really echo what Jason has just mentioned in terms of support for the ecosystem. I really feel there are, all right, let's be frank. I think a lot of the games title out there, the action game titles, the esports game title, I would say arguably 90% of them are owned by Tencent, either in name or in some sort of equity and invested interest, So the industry is really tight. How if I want to develop an action game today, I with my 5-man team, how do I do something how do I pit myself against Tencent, who has unlimited resources? That is a meta point. That's a meta question that I think we have to really think about. But if you don't want to go into the action space, then that isn't where most of the revenue of gaming is coming from. If you are looking at having a puzzle game, you might spend a lot of time developing, but the traction, and the monetization, would it be there? It's really a hit and miss, I feel. So I feel for games developer who are doing this, finding your unique niche, echoing what Jason has said, the localization, your unique niche, something that you see and identify for yourself, for your culture, which some other competitors out there in the different regions wouldn't have seen. That is something that you can start for. And I think Indonesia is is in it itself a big entire ecosystem that is self-sustainable, and its population is ready to be self-supportive for that. Unlike Singapore, we can't develop something in Singapore just for Singaporeans because the sheer size of Singapore is too small to sustain the company. But in Indonesia, it's possible. So the unique niche can be identified through that, coupled with a good game dev ecosystem that can probably be initiated by the government, in the sense of once a game developer has a successful POC, they will be able to, the government has a ready batch of incubators, game dev incubators, game dev investors who are ready to put money behind this different games to really supercharge. And then I know of several platforms out there who are like Kickstarter for game dev. You give them their POC, they look at their POC, they put it out to their community. If their community likes it, the community will come in to fund you to get you to the next stage. So there are Kickstarter, there are Kickstarter's platform like this, and I think for Jason as well, for them to say that AKG is ready to stand behind, that's also a big thing as well. So Jason, please put in your email address so everybody from this can kind of email after this.
Okay, great. All right. So for the next question, Desmond, let me just fire it up to you. So do you think that Indonesia's gaming player, name it like game developers or even esport team and all the stakeholders, should focusing on going global or not? Because as you said, like the market of Indonesia is quite big, and if it's yes, what should Indonesia's gaming industry stakeholders do in order to prepare themselves for going global?
I feel back home is really a good market to start as far as gaming. If you're looking at game dev, just look at esports. Even if you want to be competing on the global stage, right? It has to be, unless you're talent scouted as an individual player to join an overseas team, but any one successful team would have to definitely go through the ranks of beating their state competitions, their regional competitions before they step into the global stage. So that is in terms of esports, and I think that formula shouldn't change. For game dev, game development that is apart from the action games, I feel Indonesia has a big enough self-sustaining market, like I mentioned earlier, to where Indonesian developer, they would be able to identify what is the critical niche point that I could kind of go after. And once they have identified that, they could then scale it into the region and then scale it into the global. Being the fourth biggest population in the whole world, 200 over million, that's a lot of people, that's a lot of people to be going after. And that's the reason why Bountie is coming into Indonesia as well, because you guys are so big, so huge. And in Southeast Asia, I would argue to say that Indonesia has the biggest gaming market.
All right. Jason,
I think just
what do you think?
I know, and I think I think definitely if I mean, say yes. I think definitely Indonesia is a good place for any local developer to start. A good comparative analysis is Vietnam. Vietnam is one of Southeast Asia's second or third biggest gaming markets. The population is 100 million people, but yet they've got, I think, at least one unicorn or close to a unicorn within the gaming industry there. And I think, the Vietnam gaming ecosystem is very close, it's very close knit, and the companies, there are some market peculiarities there. Definitely, the fact is that the companies there and the game developers are able to be to really conquer the market and really do well there. I think it's a good example that for Indonesian companies to sort of take some reference from, where the fact that starting from your home country is definitely a very good way to actually it's a good enough start for you. And once you can actually reach a certain scale and size in your home market, that's when you can start to expand. And I think my personal suggestion would be that from Indonesia you can then look to expand across to other parts of Southeast Asia, especially Malaysia, for example, where language and maybe a bit less of maybe very a lot more common before expanding outwards to other parts, Philippines, Thailand, etc. So I think, and I think going back to Desmond's point, I think yes, finding if you look at the market of around 500 million people in Southeast Asia, finding a niche, be it a puzzle game or some sort of strategic-based card game, for example, there is a big enough pie for game developers to hunt.
Yeah. Okay. Pak Diko, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, we must focus on eager to going global, especially mobile games. If we check in Indonesia, revenue in mobile games segment is projected to reach 730 million US dollar in 2021. It's a big number. From the number that you can analyze that mobile games market still huge growth potential for coming years. In that condition, we have the human resources, like qualified programmer, designer, the writers, and also the pro esport athlete and teams. All we need is to have a platform to promote the local gamers and local teams and also local publisher. We need to bring our best quality of gaming products. To going global, we need to collaborate and working together with the government, gaming industry stakeholder, gaming communities to chase other countries. It is our dream that Indonesia will have fantastic game and world esport champion in the near future.
Actually, just on that point, I think definitely yes. I think Indonesia has had quality athletes, across different. I can't remember right now, but I think I think Mobile Legends, there was a very strong team that won the national champion, that won the global championships. And for Hearthstone, for example, that was in Indonesia. For the Asian Games, that was in Indonesia in 2018. One of the players from Indonesia, Juffry, actually won silver in Hearthstone. So
Agree.
silver. So I think we do have international champions, and so definitely we can. We have the talent in Indonesia, so it's all about finding the right platform and the right game to grow.
Wow, nice.
Absolutely.
I don't know about that. Silver, that's great, man. Okay, all right. Do you have anything to add, Desmond? No.
Well, maybe as a parting, let's talk to the parents, for a little while. I think if there are any parents that's kind of tune into this webinar, I think the really meta point I want to talk about is I find parents more often than not, they demonize games, they demonize technology. Talking about people who are in my age category. When I see my daughter on the mobile device, I would rather she spend time reading the book. But I think the truth is we can't really stop this trend going forward. So what I want to share with parents is I think we have to be really objective in terms of game selection. If you look at the likes of maybe Minecraft, there are if you're being really objective, there are engineering skills, there are math skills, there are intuition skills that you can pick up kind of from games like this. And I think the meta point that I want parents to be understanding is do not demonize technology, do not demonize games, do not demonize your children and prevent them from playing. It has to be subjective. You can always join them and be part of it and look at it from a very objective perspective and share with them when they are playing. Example, if they're playing Mobile Legends, which is largely popular, play with them and tell them Mobile Legends is not just about going out to the field and trying to kill the Nexus and just to destroy the base, right? It's not about that. It's really to go out there. What's the teamwork there? If I'm playing a support, I'm playing a tank, I'm playing a mage. How do you play team play? There's a top lane, there's a bottom lane, there's a center lane. Who's going to be the leader? Who's going to be the shout? Who's going to be shouting it? Who's going to be supporting different positions? What's the strategy for moving forward? So if the parents could be involved in the gameplay and be analytical, and this could really help to support the youth moving forward. Because what I'm afraid of is because of our generation, how we demonize technology and games, that your child who is sitting at home today, who might have that potential to become that esports Indonesian star, is lost because of what you dictate to them as a good education. But in the world moving forward, where our child is, they will have to be living and dealing with this technology. So they have to embrace it. We will have to embrace it. So this is my takeaway message. I think I'd like parents to kind of hear this.
Very Singaporean.
Let's go for it. Okay, thank you so much, Desmond, to address it. Okay, we have a couple of questions from the audience. Let me take one. Okay, to all the panelists, this is from Ray. To all the panelists, what do you see in the future of gaming industries in Indonesia and Southeast Asia? Let's start with Pak Diko. What do you think about the future lah of gaming industry in Indonesia and Southeast Asia?
Yeah, Indonesian still grow. I think in gaming and esport. There's so many game competition here, so many pro athlete here, so many ecosystem built by the platform. Like Dunia Games. Before we starting release the news.
Yeah.
Until now, Dunia Games prepare the platform like game voucher, create on tournament, live streaming, and so many items in Dunia Games platform. Yes, yeah, simple like that.
Yeah. Okay. Jason, what do you think on that? The future
I think the
gaming
future
in Indonesia.
is bright. The future is bright. There's going to, I would say it's bright. There'll be increased growth, and I think definitely after this year, growth may stabilize a little bit as things get back to normal. But I think definitely the gaming industry will continue to grow. What I foresee is that I think mobile will be the way to go for the foreseeable future. But what I suspect is that there will be more, apart from the usual suspects that people play right now. I think definitely we look forward. I think there are many new games that are coming onto the market right now, which are giving consumers more choice. And I think definitely we would see that. I think in the future, I think the current top games we may see a shift in some of the top games right now within the market. Like Desmond playing other games like Marvel Super War, for example. We are coming up with Diablo Immortal hopefully next year. So I think definitely there should be some shift in some of the top games right now. But I think as a whole, the future is bright for esports and gaming as a whole.
Yeah. Amen to that. Desmond, your take on the future of gaming in Indonesia or Southeast Asia?
Esports as a whole, I think is very nascent. As a sport, we're compared to if you compare us to NBA, to soccer, to golf, to baseball, we are like a baby. We're less than 50 years old, So a lot more structure in place for sure. But in terms of games, 5G is coming in. Many countries are adopting it. So we see games becoming more seamless. A lot more cloud gaming technologies will be in place. So a lot more lesser processing power required for games. So we see more games becoming seamless, latency dropping. For games wise, we will see definitely a change as well. We see also, I will also foresee increased dollars in advertising spending for gamers in esports market, largely by non-endemic brands. So coming into with more sponsorship dollars, hopefully that can translate to more salary, more sustenance for the esports players as well, for professionals. And also, I would foresee more consolidations of companies. I would see more VCs coming in with money, investing into companies that is viable. And then there should be more consolidation across from the giants. In terms of games, well, all of you might know League of Legends Wild Rift just released the mobile version. So I think I will foresee that becoming one of the top few games in Southeast Asia.
I see. Okay, probably just one last question. This is does government regulation have positive impact to the overall growth of gaming industry in Indonesia, or is it on the contrary? Desmond, probably because you talk about the government a lot, can I ask you about this?
Yeah, of course, I'll be happy to. I think I'm very supportive, in fact, what the government has done. I feel this is right after the third country in Southeast Asia to be announcing that the government says that esports is an official sport. So yay! so it's a good thing, you know. But what is lacking in terms of that recognition is, I would argue to say that esports player perhaps invest more time in terms of mental, intellectual engagement. You know, sports you train maybe 6-7 hours, you go gym, you have your conditioning, you play the actual sport 6-7 hours a day. That's considered what you could do as a pro athlete. Weekends you rest. But in the esports players, I'll argue to say they don't rest on weekends. Saturdays, Sundays, they're still on. You know, when they're not training, they're probably doing their own live streaming to engage with fans, to engage, to do that, to ensure that engagement is high. So they're probably on the PC, 17, 18 hours, you know, sometimes on days. I'll argue to say that pro gamers, you know, they trained as a team, but then they also play with their fans. That's their engagement, right? And that is also how they earn money as well via marketing. So as an industry, the esports player isn't monetized as much as compared to pro sports player. Even though that the intellectual engagement of esports player is higher than your pro sports player. So I would like to see advertisers coming in to balance that out. I would like to see agency coming in to balance that out. I would like to see government coming in to help to balance that out, to balance the playing field, so that, you know, if my passion is on, I'm living my passion on a $20,000 USD per year annual wage, is very hard to survive, you know. So as an industry, as players who are in this, we have to echo this voice together, and we have to force advertisers to, you know, put more marketing dollars. It's true, because I came from an advertising industry. For impressions, we pay so much more than what we're doing in esports right now. And esports is really undervaluing themselves in terms of impressions and players. So that's my take.
Oh, nice. Anything from Jason or Pak Diko about this, about the government regulation? Do you have any opinion on this? No?
I think, okay, Pak Diko first.
Pak Diko, come on.
Yeah, for government keep supporting us. For any local game out there, not for government, I think there's no harm to come and test the market here. Big opportunities await. Indonesian people want to try something new and different. We know it ain't easy and not big check to expand in Indonesia. Yeah, if we strongly recommend it for any gaming companies and investor out there to grab the rapidly growing market here. Yeah, game is universal. Game you need us, somehow we connect each other from every side of games. Yeah, we can the best partner in publish your game here.
Yeah. Thank you, Pak. Quite good take. Pak, for Jason, do you have anything to add?
Regulation is always, it's always good to have some rules and some guidelines on everything, be it player welfare within the esports industry. You know, I think things like maybe a minimum wage, for example, or some guidelines on how many hours they should train a day. That actually might be useful. And of course, you know, but I think as all businesses, we always would like regulation, but with a light touch, so that, you know, it's a level playing field for all companies, be it big or small, and we can all find. But regulation should not choke off any innovation. So I think you know, without going to the nitty-gritty of it, I think definitely some rules and guidelines are always good for us to adhere to. And I think it's great that the government of Indonesia is looking at this as a whole, as a positive light, looking at this as an active and strong contributor to the digital economy. I think Indonesia is doing it. Singapore has definitely been doing it, and I think Malaysia and other parts of the world, especially Korea, are leaders in this.
I see. Yeah. Okay, that's quite good said. Yeah, the regulations will be choke the innovation. Good, just definitely good.
Shouldn't choke.
Shouldn't choke the innovation. And it surprised me, Desmond, that there are pro players that, you know, play 80 hours per week. Man, that's crazy, man. That's a lot, actually. Okay, did not know that. Okay, that question will be the closing of the session. Again, thank you very much, Pak Diko, Desmond, and Jason for your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Again, Thank you, everyone. And I will pass this screen and time to Rizky.
All right, thank you very much, Danang, and all the panelists. It's such a great session that we have in this afternoon. I just had a lot of new information to get in into me, and then a lot of also, maybe I can take the red line from Desmond that he said that parents should be not demonized of games, right? And it should be the next level of a future. So I hope people, the parents that you watch this webinar also can help this to voice it out to everyone that it will be a future also not only for us, but also for our next generation. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have to reach to the end of the session of the second of Innoxjogja panel session. But again, before I close this session, thank you very much to all the panel session. And please, I want to remember and to remind to all the participants of the Innoxjogja, please to check out the Innoxjogja platforms. You can check out the virtual booth, have a networking with all the participants, such as other startups, incubators, VCs, and corporates. And also, if you want to look up for the games industry, don't forget, we have Desmond, we have Diko, we have also Jason, and also Danang, if you want to reach out and want to learn or share more about the gaming industries. Okay, so again, I will remember you all to the participants, don't forget to follow our Instagram at Innoxjogja, INNOXJOGJA. So Innoxjogja, and for all the information about this event, you can get it from there. So thank you very much again to all the viewers. I'll see you again for the next session panel at 5 o'clock Indonesia time, Jakarta time, or 6 o'clock at Singapore time. It's all about the make or break of the birthplace of the next generation of tech entrepreneurs with our moderator, Agustin Marianti, the General Manager of Block 71 Indonesia. And then for Ahmad Al-Junaid from CTO and the co-founder of Pinhome. And then Pak Budiman Wikasa, the head of Startup Ecosystem Indonesia at AWS. And then Ibu Dina Deliana, the Director of Business Incubator at School of Business and Management of ITB. And also Pak Imade Andi Arsana, the Head Office International Affairs of UGM or Universitas Gadjah Mada. All right, thank you very much. I'm Iki, I'm signing out, and I'll see you again at 5 o'clock in Jakarta time. Goodbye, and thank you.